Hey everybody, it's the 3D Printing Professor, and sorry for the strange angle here. We're at my shed where I do all of my hard work, and it kind of tends to get a little bit dusty, but never mind that because I have over here the Davinci Color 3D printer, a full color 3D printer. The box for this thing is massive. It came on a pallet. I've never had a printer developed to me or delivered to me on a pallet. I don't know how big this printer is. My plan was to have this printer be inside because it's enclosed and all those things. That plan may not happen. So let's get to unboxing this sucker and see what happens if I can get a print going today. So this first box that came is actually the ink. It's well, it just cut right through the paperwork there. They had to send the ink separately because apparently shipping ink from China has some special regulations to it or something. I don't know. It was silly. But since this is smaller, this will be the first one that I unpack. Oh no, there was some important paperwork in here. No, there wasn't. There's some styrofoam that I don't need. And inside this big box is a little box. More styrofoam. And nothing else. Well, there we go. That mystery has been unfolded. There's the entire contents of the box concerning the resin tank. That's what it says on here, resin tank. Let's open it up and take a look at this. Okay, so it just looks like I don't know why they're already open when they came to me. I'm not too worried about it though. But these are the cyan, magenta, yellow, and black ink cartridges, and more styrofoam. All right, let's get some attention on the big boy here. Man, I feel like I'm working nights at Walmart again. All right, now that I see how much styrofoam they're packing into the rest of these, I have hope that maybe this thing isn't going to be so incredibly big that it will be prohibitive to actually use, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. Are you looking at this thing? This thing is massive. I mean, I knew that it was big. The box it came in was huge, but I thought it was all just packaging. No, this is bigger than my CR10 for volume, but the area that it prints is smaller. I'm sure there's a reason for this. It's just too huge. It's incredible. I have to rethink where I'm going to keep this darn thing. Oh my goodness. First impressions. Wow. This is not the size of a printer that I would expect to get at this price. And of course it's XYZ printing, so they're subsidizing the cost of the printing by charging you for the build material and the ink. You're going to pay for the rest of this thing over time, but that's not a bad thing. This is incredible. In the box came a wireless USB adapter, so that's good. Knowing that it can print wirelessly might be important considering the fact that this is not gonna go into my home. I'm gonna have to leave it out here where it can print wirelessly, so thank goodness for that. It had a roll of filament. I think that this is the chipping of it. I'm not sure. Maybe it's not chipped. Maybe XYZ printing doesn't do that anymore. We'll find out. A Desiccant Packet that is so huge that between this and the dry air of where I'm living, I'm pretty sure we can dehydrate meat in this room right now. It also came with various important wires and a big scraper for getting things off the plate. We'll pull that open and play with those later. And it also came with a printed manual, which at this price, I would expect nothing less. So I'm going to sit down with this quick start manual, quick start my way through this whole thing, and see where it gets me. So let's see what happens here. Holy smokes! Okay, so just looking at this mechanism, I'm already seeing something that's kind of making me raise my eyebrows. There's a piece of styrofoam I haven't removed. But right here, the cables that are connecting the feeder mechanism and the X-axis chain are just kind of like floating out in the air as they go to the back. And so they're just kind of wiggling. Now, hopefully there's enough wiggle in them that this isn't going to wear out over time. I trust the XYZ engineers, because this thing has been spectacularly engineered. I trust that they've taken into consider the fact that as this moves, it's going to be wiggling, and that's going to cause strain on it, and eventually, I don't know, but I've seen problems with other 3D printers with cables that flex like this if they don't put a chain or something around them. Now, mind you, those were also cheaper printers with cheaper cables, so maybe they've got some industrial cables here. I mean, you can see they folded these cables in two places, and it can handle it. So it might be fine, but I looked at this and I was like, wow, that is something else I have never seen. It just kind of floating out in mid-air here. What? I broke it. Well, it's actually not that bad. While I was loading the ink cartridges, a little piece of plastic and a spring that holds the ink cartridge down into place well and tight fell off. And now, maybe it was my fault, maybe I was pushing wrong, or maybe it wasn't properly put in there, but a little bit of off-screen fiddling that may have involved me getting the wrong idea about which way it was put in. If you have this happen to you, the trick is to put the spring in and then push the piece of plastic in from the bottom, from below, and then it just snaps into place. After doing that, these cartridges went in and out just fine. So, no major problems. Let's get going. Let's load up the filament and see what we can make happen with this thing. Okay, so filament loading was no problem whatsoever. The filament sits on this rather interesting little spool that they put behind this kind of closed door that I guess is supposed to keep dust and things out of the print or out of the machine during shipping, but it's odd. What am I supposed to do with this little box now that this is all done? But oh well, there we go. The printer is all ready to go. The ink is in, the filament is in. For the size of this printer, if you're used to traditional FFF 3D printers, the home machines, you might think this is a lot of volume for not a lot of build volume, but this is actually par for the course for industrial 3D printers. Most of them have a very large space around them to allow for insulation and keeping things away from the outside world. Now, I do really love the touchscreen on this one. This is the first 3D printer that I've had that has a full touchscreen built in, and that's super cool. It makes for some very cool interfaces. I'm going to see what else I need to do. I'm going to calibrate the color. Let's make this happen. Well, okay, so the instructions didn't say anything about putting the paper that you're printing on down on the print bed with tape or anything, but I think the lesson is clear. Put the paper for color calibration down with tape or something. So there's nothing in the quick start instructions about preparing the print bed in any way. And even though they gave me several pieces of this very large masking tape that are very clearly for putting on the print bed, they never tell me to do it in the instructions. So I kind of held off on that. But after the headache and fiasco of calibrating the print head, the ink head, which I still haven't done yet, I decided I was going to put one of these pieces of masking tape down, and I was going to even hit it with some glue stick for good measure. I'm going to go through the leveling process, and then I'm going to calibrate the ink. So the leveling is actually accomplished by auto leveling. There's a physical switch in there that clicks that tells it when it's coming close. And I like that it's a physical switch because those inductive sensors can't tell if you have a piece of glass or tape or anything else on your build plate, and this is able to compensate for that. Leveling, one push, let it do its thing, and that's fine. And then the color calibration worked just like on your printer. You decide which line is most accurate and tell the printer which one. All of them were off by +2 what? I don't know. For the vertical alignment, but only the blue, the cyan, no, the blue, yeah, cyan was off a little bit on the vertical alignment. It occurs to me that this machine is combining the technology of an inkjet printer with the technology of a 3D printer. That's a lot of fail points that could go wrong. I mean, inkjet printers are pretty reliable at this point. We've pretty much figured them out, but regardless, I'm super excited by the possibilities that this offers. While it's warming up this next calibration, I also had the opportunity to notice the mechanism that keeps the door shut. It's a physical switch that just turns, so there's no chance. It's not like a magnet where if you over pull it, you could beat it. There's no beating this without breaking the door. Okay, Davinci Color, show me what this calibration is going to be. Okay, well, my first printed item was this little calibration tool, and as you notice, it's kind of messed up, and the tape has already been ruined on the build plate. Again, I wonder if the tape is even necessary, or if they're giving me a build plate that I don't need tape with, but regardless, hoy vey, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get prints off the print bed easier than this. I wonder if magic goo would be a good solution for this. You know, one thing that impresses me about this calibration tool is that it prints, I would say about 1 millimeter off the print bed, and then it did the ink right on top of it. And so these numbers on the calibration tool that you see along the sides and the bottoms here were just like sprayed over 1 millimeter, and yet they still landed accurately enough that I can read the numbers very clearly. Also, this plastic is very clearly transparent, and hopefully that will transfer the image to the edges. Also, I noticed that the printer prints backwards, whereas essentially what would be upside down to me. The negative side comes towards the door and the positive side goes towards the back of the machine. That would mean that if I were going to do a webcam time-lapse of this, I would want this webcam to be behind the printer looking down on the print head. Let's see if we can do one of their prints from the USB card and also set up the Wi-Fi on this machine. What? The build plate's removable. It's magnetic removable. What the heck? Why didn't you tell me this? Oh my goodness. This changes a little bit. Certainly not everything, but something. Something changes. Okay, so hold on for a second. Let me turn off this machine. It's got some jet turbines in the back that are making it really noisy in here. But so far, Alright, in trying to get the Wi-Fi to work, I first tried it without the Wi-Fi dongle and nothing worked. And then, of course, they sent this little Wi-Fi dongle with me, so I plugged it in. Now, this machine has two USB ports. One is here on the top, and one is inside the unit. I assumed that the one on top was for the Wi-Fi dongle. However, even with this plugged in, it can't pick up my Wi-Fi. And I don't know if that's because this isn't where it belongs, or it doesn't need to be here, or my Wi-Fi is just too far away for this little antenna to pick up. My computer can pick it up just fine, but this just can't seem to make it. So, well. Then the second thing I tried doing was plugging in the USB stick that they sent with their printer to the one inside and try printing the test print on it, only to discover that there is no test print on this. So clearly there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of beta tester growing pains that we're having to get over with this machine. And I hope that these kinks will get worked out as it goes on. But right now, my path is clear. The only test print that I have is that calibration print, which was okay, but not bad. I will mention that I found on this dongle, when I plugged it into my computer, that it had a movie on here, and in that movie, when it said to do the color calibration, it mentioned taping down the piece of paper, so, you know, they could use some updating of the instructions that they put in there. Again, growing pains. I'm super excited. I'm super excited about the possibilities that this machine is going to offer me, but now my course is clear. I have to spend some time fiddling with the software, make a test print, load it onto here, and send it out. So there will be a follow-up to this about making color 3D prints and how they turn out. But for now, I've been at this all day long. I'm ready to take a break, take it on inside. I'll come back outside when I have a test print. We'll run it off and see how it goes. But for now, and for this video, I think that's it. So this is setting up the Davinci part 1, but I don't have a test print to show you, but we'll see where that goes in the near future. As always, I want to thank you guys very much for watching. A special thanks to my Patreon backers. A special thanks to XYZ Printing for sending me this monstrosity. I will have to find a home for it here soon. And as always, safety first. I'll see you next time. Do you want to know more about 3D printing, but don't know where to start? Or did you buy a 3D printer, but you need some help getting it going? Don't panic. The Beginner's Guide to the 3D Printing Galaxy is here, now, for you. Buy it on Amazon.